Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Can you believe it? I could not believe my eyes as I watched the press conference between Volodymyr Zelenskyy and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. It was the starkest nutcase Anyway, beforehand, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome aboard, all our people. And Yvette Avery Heron won the bet today. She's the first one in from Atlanta, Georgia. Patrick Magner from Houston, Texas. We have Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. We also have in the house Lee Grant from Montgomery County, Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Atascocita, Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain, Joe from Los Angeles, California. And in the house as well is, and I'm scrolling down, Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York. As more people come, let me read what we've have so far. Let's see, we have Paul Fleming says, U.S. intelligence indicates that Russia and China are attempting to recruit federal employees fired by the Trump administration, sources said. And yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. Right? Joe says, hello, I feel degraded as a citizen by not my president. Debased and very ill. We have to get this administration gone. This guy has made a shame. It's a shame what we are. Michael Rudden says, Egberto, first one for the screen. Okay, Michael, let me go ahead and put that up on the screen because it is a factually based information. Let me go ahead and do that now. Make sure that we're not going to have the chaos problem that we had before. Para ver, here it is on the screen. According to Michael Rudden, actually, voters want greater funding for social safety net and less funding for tax breaks for the wealthy. Social Security, 70%, Medicare, 60%, Medicaid, 46%, supplemental nutritional SNAP, 45%, federal programs, 44%, renewable energy, 42%. Let's see, we should keep funding at current levels. So at current levels or increase is what those polls are saying. Federal student loans, 32 and 40, so 72%. Tax breaks for fossil. Oh, wow. Yeah, that is clear what you have on the screen. Anyway, likewise, the midterms are going to swing blue, but Trump and Musk don't seem to care. Let's see what the image is. The other image that you have on. Oh, it's the same image. It's the same image. It's the same image that you put twice, Michael Rudden. No, I don't think it is. Let me go ahead and put that. GOP proposal that cuts social safety net to give tax breaks to wealthy is unpopular. Yep, they don't care because they don't have another term to worry about. They're gone. You know, that's the way they look at it, Michael Rudden. All right. Michael also said, all alternate national park, we are shutting down our online store at midnight in solidarity with the 228 economic blackout. We'll be back on 3/1. Who's that from? Economic boycott. Yep. Our household has participated in a boycott. In fact, my wife said, I need to get this. We said, nope, boycott. No Amazon, Walmart, Target, fast food, gas. Okay, small businesses. Oh, I didn't realize small business was okay. That's good. Economic boycott. Don't buy stuff Friday, February 28th. And I'm abiding by the rule. It gives me a chance to use all the old food that I have in the freezer. So that's what I will be doing. Thank you for that, Brother Rudnan. All right, continuing with what we have on the screen. USA Today, some consumers are spending money for today's economic blackout. Here are not spending money. Here's what to know. Many consumers nationwide plan to participate in a 24-hour economic blackout on Friday to protest what they call corporate greed, companies that have rolled back their diversity, equity, inclusion, and Trump's efforts to eliminate federal DEI. Keep on reading it, you guys. Bridge MCP says, hey, peeps, what a shit show. That was shameful, bullish, disrespectful. They two-time him and also lied. Oh my God, was family overseas were blowing up my messages. The world is outraged, and they should be outraged. Donald Trump comes out looking like a creep. But you know, MAGA is going to think he's okay. MAGA will think he's okay, but that's, like I said, the rest of the world. I haven't read any of my Latin American newspapers yet. I can't wait to do that. Michael said, just in case one asks, I'm feeling fine, but I'm 2 days behind my errands and news cycles. Time to catch up. I was going to ask Mr. Rudnin. I'm glad that you are feeling well out of your flu. We want to make sure our people are doing just fine. Paul Fleming says the contrast could not have been starker. Earlier in the day, Zelenskyy met with the bipartisan group of U.S. senators who reaffirmed their commitment to Ukraine. That's how actual diplomacy is conducted. Then he walked into the Oval Office and was met with nothing but lies, cowardice, disgrace, Trump and his lackeys. Exactly right. Lee, the beer cat says, yeah, looks like fireworks in the White House. Look, when I saw the thing, I just couldn't believe what was happening. I just could not believe this is the first time anything like that has happened in America's White House. Something that never, ever happened with Trump. He blows all the norms. But the thing about it is when you blow norms, you want to blow norms to the positive side. My God, the guy looked like a gangster, dumb, you know what. I can't believe it. All right, what else have we got here? Alistair Waters said, I had to stop watching it. I had very disturbing feelings that needed to leave. I know when you have that, you got to get out of there. I get you, girl. Egberto, data for progress data, count the blue and yellow increase or keep while Trump aims to cut them. There you go, baby. There you go. Lee the Bearcat says, this administration just started, afraid you have it for some time. What if the war is ended and lives are saved? What if Israel war ends? It won't. This guy is a charlatan. And the faster, look, we have to figure out how do you run a country with a crazy president and a crazy vice president. I don't think people understand the severity of what's going on here. We have got to understand how are we going to run the country with a crazy president, a crazy nincompoop as a president, and a vice president that wants to appease him, and a scared Republican Senate and Congress. I don't know how we do it. I don't know how we do it. But this shows the danger that America is in after you've elected an idiot is too, and I don't speak like this on the radio. But how can someone like this be president? MAGA, you guys sure screwed up. You guys have put the entire world in danger. And it's not like we didn't know this. I will be honest, though. It's happening a lot quicker than I expected. We have elected a bumbling buffoon as president and an appeasing Congress. It's ridiculous. All right. Let's see. Patrick says Ukraine threatened with World War III by Trump. Can you believe that? A U.S. president saying that? Wow. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Alistair Waters says, I put all boycotts in my calendar to help me keep track. There you go, girl. Let's see. Paul Fleming says, TASS, the Russian state agency, was welcomed with open arms into the White House, but the AP and Reuters were not allowed. Russia equal yes, USA equal no, thanks for making it crystal clear what side the White House is on. This is not the White House. This is the West Wing of the Kremlin. There's right now we don't have a White House. We have the Western Wing, the West Wing of the Kremlin. All right. Good afternoon, May Wood from Long Beach, California. Let's see what else we've got here. Steigenbergen Creek, welcome aboard. Bridge says, I was shocked and so angry was shaking. I bet MAGA thinks he is a strongman. Idiots. look, they're going to look at that and think that he got him. No, he didn't. He didn't. What Trump just did is further destabilize the world. That's what Trump did there. Trump is a wannabe robber baron. Musk is an actual robber baron. The greed and the hate demonstrates their actions exactly. And we have here from Paul Fleming, the board of Virginia Military Institute has voted to remove Major General Cedric Wins, the college's first black superintendent, following conservative complaints that he removed the statue of Confederate General Thomas Stonewall Jackson and increased campus diversity. The unblackening of America continues. Yeah, but they're going to get a surprise because the truth of the matter is people of color, black folks, and all these other folks are making America hippier. And people don't like it. I tell you, they can try their what would I call it? They can continue to move their racist things in. It's not going to last because most Americans are good people. And guess what? Most Americans are fine. These misfits, and that's what I called them. Was it on the radio this morning? I think I called it misfits is what we're looking at. Misfits. These misfits that are trying to find something. There's no Ask Egberto this weekend because I have a Houston Peace and Justice Center event. So we'll do it the week after. Let's see what else we have here. Zelenskyy sent a message after he left saying, thank you to America. That is a president. But not only, but, he was also, when he sent that, right? When he said that, it was also a quasi mock. You want me to say thank you? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll do whatever you want. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But for those who haven't seen it, it's only, look, I've been processing videos from this video. But also, I have an interview that I did with a correspondent in Kiev, Ukraine. He's in Kiev right now in an apartment where, he talks about the drones passing by and so forth. So I did that interview on Zoom, but I couldn't get it ready for the show today because I just got off the phone with Chris Sampson, who is a correspondent for KPFT in Ukraine. But I'll have it for you on Monday. I'll likely have it up on the website sometime tonight. Probably have it on for our paid subscribers of Substack. I'll have that ready for you sometime this evening, and you get first crack at it. So anyhow, let's see what else we got here. Let's go ahead and play that first. And then I'm going to play Ambassador McFall's thoughts on it. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll take it on the other side. President Zelenskyy and President Donald Trump. President Zelenskyy did not take any crap from neither President Trump or Vice President Vance. This is a man who came here to take care of his country. He doesn't want to play the games that Donald Trump wants to play. And he presented a tough act to Donald, something Donald did not expect. And you know what? I am so proud of somebody coming in and facing him. Maybe Republicans can learn something about what Zelenskyy did here, because this is important. Check this out.
Poland was under Russian control for decades after the Second World War. When I was a kid, I looked at the United States not only as a most powerful country, richest country in the world, the country that has great music, great movies, great muscle cars, but also as a force for good. And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal? It doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America. And for the good of the world, I'm aligned with the world. And I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred. And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the president of the United States' words mattered more than the president of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count one.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly
Remember this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
I
You have a damn good chance of
we
coming
are
out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment.
You
and your
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
Yes. What about
if you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times thank you to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low on
know.
soldiers.
Don't- don't, please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
that
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry,
It'll be
here.
a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
What
She's
if
asking, what if
Putin
Russia breaks the
breaks
ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now?
But they have
Okay?
weapons to
What if they
fire.
broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden, because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
But all-
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
Now, was that something or not? That is how you have to handle Donald Trump, with tough hands. If you notice, he got off kilter. He tried to play it off some with the vice president. But guess what, folks? It's not going to work. I also think that Zelensky probably has something on Donald Trump. Listen, I mean, can you believe, first of all, can you believe how this crazy dude goes back into all the conspiracy theories and he goes right back into Biden and I mean, what kind of a president talks like this? What kind of a president talks like this? Jean Deigel says, Avery Herod said, me either. It is sickening, she says. Billy Allison Aaron says, what the you know what? Michael Rudden, what the you know what? I mean, this is embarrassing. And who knows it? Jane Deigel, who says, I am effing embarrassed and ashamed to be called an American now. I get it. I get it. I get it. It looks like that's a robocall. Anyhow, it is shameful. What an utter disgrace and embarrassment we have in the White House. Anyone who calls themselves a patriot and an American should feel like this with what took place today. Paul Fleming says, column, Bezos threw the Washington Post under the MAGA bus. His decision to revamp its opinion pages threatens to just independent journalism. But the Post business future, writes our senior editor. Yes, I know what I told you guys about that yesterday. Here's the thing, though, folks. That's why independent media is necessary now. And when I ask you guys to support us here, that's the reason I ask you. We are going to have to, we are on our own. The corporatocracy is behind this thing called, this thing that we are calling a president right now. The corporatocracy is behind it because they know he's a paper tiger and he's irrational. You listen to him and you can't believe it. It's shameful. It is shameful. It is preposterous. And to put it bluntly, a lot of folks are going to say, God help us. It's not God help us. We got to help ourselves. Patrick Magner says 70% of the support fed our economy. Yeah, Bridge MCP, still outrageous. Jean Deigel said, I served 22 years in the military. Ronald Reagan, if he was alive today, would hate both Ronald Reagan and J.D. Vance. I agree. Allison says, mocking him. Old reprobate says, Vance is hyperbolic. Now Trump, Zelenskyy is not disrespectful of the American people. Trump and Vance are the embarrassment of the American people. Shameful. We also have Breed saying, Europe gave more money than us, and most of ours went into our own country because we are the one who make the arms. Exactly. Exactly. Billy Ellison Aaron says, didn't most of it go into buying military equipment made here? Billy from Summerwood, absolutely so. Jean Deigel says, not even a good show, a TV reality character, all fake. All fake. Yep. Yep, Patrick, I didn't know that you guys, that's why I taped it. I knew a lot of you probably would not have seen it. So I said, let me go ahead and get it ready for the program today. Breaking, the SEC has just halted its fraud prosecution of Justin Sun, Chinese national who has put more than $50 million into Trump's pocket. Look, it is up for sale. The CFPB, they dropped a lot of cases, one for $2 billion with one of the banks really taking advantage of people. Look, I can't understand how MAGA can be so misled. I just don't get it. How can MAGA be as misled as they are right now? It is crazy. It is completely crazy. According to Gene Dow, I'm effing embarrassed and ashamed. Yeah, I saw that one, Gene. Second cataract removed. I recover, and I hope you're. The second one somehow, if I remember correctly, got there better. Neo Maxon says this might have been the beginning of the end of NATO. If I were the NATO countries, I'll just put NATO to sleep. And if I were the European countries, I'll put NATO to sleep and simply form a new organization. Because I tell you what, and it's not like I'm this super pro-European guy, because, come on, I remember what Europe has done throughout North America, South America, because do remember England is a part of Europe. and all these different, what they've done as an entity. Okay, slave trade, the whole works. But for world order, right now, America is the destabilizing force. Okay, sending prayers of healing and relief your way for Bruce and his cataracts. Eddie Hart says, oh my God, I just got a message from a friend in France, and he's asking me if our president is under any controlled substance. Yeah, I think he is. And I also think he's crazy. And when I say that, I don't say that figuratively. I mean that literally. Literally. Honor is lost, according to Joe. Now, here is what McFall had to say, Ambassador McFall, because his statement is rather important. Let me go ahead and play that now.
Talk to me, Ambassador, about how Zelenskyy approached this, clearly not afraid to challenge the president, to challenge J.D. Vance and speak the truth as he knows it and lived it.
Well, I think President Zelenskyy was trying to educate President Trump about the horrors, the terrorists, the kidnappings of Putin that, as you've been talking about, President Trump has never been able to say before. And I think his strategy was, well, if he saw the horrors, maybe he would be less likely just to support Putin. Doesn't seem like it worked. And, Trump was always tough with people like Zelenskyy and the Canadians and the Panamanians and the Colombians. He's never been tough. I'm using that word on purpose. He's never been tough with the dictator of Russia, the guy that invaded Ukraine, the guy that destroyed the architecture after post-World War II, when we said we're going to stop annexation of countries. We're going to stop allowing countries to invade their neighbors. And he's just never, ever criticized that. The second thing I want to say is a point that your other guests have just talked about. I've organized sprays like this when I worked for President Obama. I've done diplomacy with the Russians as the ambassador and as a White House official. And this is just violating all kinds of basic diplomacy 101. So number one, the spray, like you insinuated, it's supposed to last 20 seconds. You're not supposed to do an impromptu press conference like the president keeps doing. And when he does it, we don't have time to go through them all. He just constantly repeats things that are not true. They are not true. We did not give the Ukrainians $350 billion. And we look like fools to the rest of the world when we do that. Number two, diplomacy happens best behind closed doors. That's why the spray is supposed to last 20 seconds. And I just wish the Trump team would understand that basic fact. The vice president, too. Go behind closed doors. I've been in arguments with President Obama and Russian officials and other officials that got heated, but that's best to do behind closed doors. Instead, what they keep doing is they keep negotiating in public because they're all TV personalities. And so they just throw out this stuff. You can't join NATO. You got to give territory. We're not going to have our troops on the ground. And we're undermining our negotiating position before we've even started to negotiate.
This is completely shameful, and the ambassador is absolutely correct. Donald Trump, and another person pointed out, Donald Trump, when he was in power for 4 years, negotiated no treaty. Putin was already in Ukraine through Croatia. He did absolutely nothing. So where he talks about being this great negotiator and this person who gets the deal done, the art of the deal, all that good stuff. I'm sorry. He never displayed an art of the deal the entire time that he was president of the United States. So he's going to go now where he has a new cast, mostly of misfits and incompetents, and somehow he's going to be better than he was when he actually had a plausible cast that could do a few things? I don't think so. And you don't think so either. This guy, today's display in the White House, I see a lot of second tiers saying, well, Zelenskyy should do exactly what Macron did or what Talbot did from the Prime Minister of England did, right? He should have done exactly what Premier, I believe, what he did Starmer. He should do exactly what Starmer did and what Macron did. That is appease him. Starmer came with an invitation from the crown to come to a special dinner. And Macron just talked about how good Trump is. And, kind of that's what they want you to do. No, I think until people start showing stamina with Trump and showing that, you know what, we'll take the pains for being straight up with you. But here's the deal. Donald Trump wants those rare earths as well. Let me explain a few things that Americans don't understand throughout this country. And MAGA better learn this rather quickly. While we are making war, while we are cutting budgets, while we are demeaning other countries around the world, you know what China is doing? China is in Africa building roads. Look, first of all, let me tell you something. I am no fan of China. I'm no fan of Russia. I'm not a fan of any country. But countries work in their interests, and there are two ways to work. You attempt to bully or you attempt to appease. And what China has been doing throughout the world is building bridges and building carreteras, highways, and building power plants and building all these things around the world. Building a freeway in Jamaica, building ports in Panama, building things all over, donating, contributing, giving all kinds of kickbacks and loans to appease people all over the world, exchanging for rare earths in Africa, exchanging for oil in Venezuela. All these things they're doing, right? They're doing it the diplomatic way. America want to say, if you want me to defend you, I gotta be like a colonist. Come and take your raw material, like what we did in Africa when in the colonial times of Africa, like what we did in India in the colonial time India. And that does not work. So right now in China has a corner on the rare earths market. They not own, but they have access to the rare earths in just about all over Africa. They have access to as much petroleum as they need from all the countries that we want to hamstrung. And we get a buffoon in Donald Trump as president thinking that we can go it alone. We are 4% of the world's population. There are another 96% of the world population. And we think we can do it alone. And we think we can dictate to other countries. As China, without raising hell, without being pompous, just go from country to country to country and make deals. They try to make deals as favorable as they can for China, not for the country that they're dealing with. They're looking out for China's interests. And as they do it slowly and methodically, with our pompous buffoons in charge, we constantly fall behind. We got a president in Biden that at least saw it, in as much as he's a neoliberal. Biden saw that. So when Biden came out with the CHIPS Act, that was in effect saying, bring these things back into the United States so that we can have some kind of control of that market. When he went into the environmental realm, he did the same thing. He said, let's go ahead and not cede the next frontier to China. All these things that Biden put into place to move us forward. We got a troglodyte to come back and talk, drill, baby, drill, baby, drill. I can't flush my toilet because it only uses a little bit of water. You get under a shower with low flow and you can't get the soap off your body. A complete and entire buffoon as president that cannot see the future if it bit him. And the other countries moving ahead. If you take a look at what is coming out of China, electric cars that are coming out of China, we have two kinds. Lee Bearcat says, what was Abraham Accords or those were not. Okay, Abraham Accords, look at the state of the Middle East. North Korea, what North Korea? They're still making bombs and flying missiles. Come on, Lee the Bearcat, get real. So anyway, we are stuck with a buffoon that completely is putting us on a back burner of progress. And China, if you ever see the plethora of electric cars coming out of China, from the low end to the high end, and what are we stuck with? A dummy called Musk that our incompetent press calls a genius. And look, when I tell you capitalism doesn't require smarts, it just requires an opportunity and somebody, let's realize Musk got rich because his father loaned him $25,000 during the tech bubble. And remember, during the tech bubble, you just had to put a website up and you could capitalize that website into a lot of money. And that's what he did. Oh my God, people don't get it. All right, what else have we got here? Leader Bearcat says companies are moving their business out of China ASAP. Go read the financials. Again, China is a very big country. Don't forget that. And you don't see them moving here. Okay, they may move to Panama, they may move to Costa Rica, and all these other places. All right, Joey Cook says Zelenskyy was very disrespectful. Ukraine owes us, not the other way around. No, that is not critical thinking, Joey Cook. Let's do some critical thinking now. Let's do some critical thinking, Mr. Joey Cook. We are investing in Ukraine in order to prevent Putin's march across the West. They are spilling their blood, tears, and guts. Brother Patrick Magner, welcome to Politics Done Right.
Note taking has stopped.
Hey, good afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday, brother. Talk to me.
It's not going to take too long, but I'll bring up again that we have a treaty that we did not keep with Ukraine, and the value of the missiles that they gave up is something that they might consider asking for us, asking from us. And those missiles are in the hundreds of millions each, and there was over 1,000 of them. But that's not why I called. I want to point out that if any other country was acting the way we were right now, we would have aircraft carriers as close to them as possible. We would have sanctions all over them. We would be sabotaging them. And we would never, ever, ever tolerate anybody acting this way. And as far as being citizens in this democracy, we shouldn't either.
No, we shouldn't. We should not. And I think what you're talking about is it the Budapest Memorandum, right?
Yeah.
And again, Ukraine was promised security for giving up all of those nuclear weapons. Anything else you want to say, my dear brother?
No, I just want to point out that we never allow anybody to act the way we are acting right now. It's hypocritical.
It is shameful. And you know what distresses me is MAGA, in order to support their Führer, MAGA simply seems to disconnect themselves entirely from critical thinking. And that's dangerous, that they have so lobotomized their minds. It's just amazing to me. I didn't know we could reach that stage here in America.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think so until about 2016. Somebody I care about a lot that means a lot to me. We both woke up that day. He was elected, and I confided in him. What I had to say was, at least I know who's out there now, because my neighbors aren't who I thought they were. They're hateful people that do not think for themselves.
Yeah,
at least half of us.
It's going to be a lot of work.
That's all.
It's going to be a lot of work. But you know what? I am not giving up. I will never give up. And I'll continue to do the work. But thank you for your thoughts, my dear brother Patrick. And we'll talk next week, okay? Yep. Take care.
Everyone have a good.
All right, folks. That was Patrick, of course. Let me point out, look up. Ukraine was promised security by giving up all their nuclear weapons, okay? So anybody who's saying that we're doing such a great favor or whatever, there was a trilateral process for Ukraine giving up its treaty. I mean, its nuclear weapons. So we owed them, Ukraine, their protection. So that's why I tell you, speaking to my brothers and sisters that are on the right side, the right of the spectrum, please do a little bit more reading. Please try to educate a bit more, because just like Donald Trump looks stupid to the rest of the world, look at poor Marco Rubio. He looks like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? I know the truth, but he has to tolerate the buffoonery, and he has to join the buffoonery clan. Educate yourself, folks. Educate yourself. Alistair Waters says critical thinking is too hard for, yeah, but we got to try to keep encouraging them for that critical thought. We need to. My God. But this was, I won't say depressing. What this was extremely disappointing as a country. And Eric, I am very disappointed in you. I saw somebody ask if you had an education. I think it was this morning in the chat or something like that. And I don't know what part of your brain, my dear brother, you're actually using when you come out with some of those statements. And this is not an insult. This is just a statement of fact. Watching your feed. I don't read aloud what you write because it's generally so nonsensical. But I know you personally, and it behooves me that this stupidity comes out of you on the chat. It just behooves me. All right, Gene Dago says 54% of American adults 20 plus only read and comprehend at about a 5th to 6th grade level, and that's a shame. But that's what I found. You know, when I wrote my first book, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, I had an editor tell me, please try to write on a 5th grade level because of some of the words that I was using. And I try my best to do that, but it's very hard when you can use a word that replaces 5 or 10 words, you know. That's why my books are not big. You see the size of my books? They're not very thick because I try to write concisely. As best as I can. But brothers and sisters, we are in difficult times. Let me just tell you, here's what I think the marching orders has to be. Here's the marching orders. I think MAGA and the like, we have to get to the Congress people and toughen their spines up. Let them know that if they do the right thing, we'll be there for them. Because as it is right now, those cowards in Congress, and you know what? It's funny because the ones that are stepping up right now are women governors that are willing to speak out. Women Congress people are willing to speak out. But my God, have the men been such damn wimps? Have them, and I'm not talking in the aggregate because I'm talking in the aggregate, not personal, because Maxwell Frost has been very strong. Anybody wants to call in? I'm done. I'd like for somebody to call in and finish the show for me. It's 281-823-7747. Come on, for our podcasters who want the full hour, 281-823-7747. Michael says, now that the live stream is ending, Christopher Titus has your follow-up for what the show on Trump connection to Russia timeline. I'd look at that afterwards, my brother. But this is shameful. We have embarrassed ourselves around the world. And the sad thing is that our MAGA brothers and sisters have yet to understand what was done here. And it's sad. It is utterly sad. Egberto, I'll send you the link by FB Messenger. Thank you for that, brother. I appreciate that. All right, let's go to Brigitte. Thank you for calling, Brigitte, because I've left.
Taking notes.
All right, you're on, Brigitte.
Stop.
That's okay. Am I on? Okay. You keep missing my comments, so I'm just going to tell you it. And besides everything that everybody said, including myself, how disgusting and outraged that we are, I'm still shaking from watching it 5 hours ago. And then you had to replay it again. Thanks a lot.
Well, did you notice how many people hadn't seen it and are in shock in the chat?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, well, it's just like people posting breaking news. And I'm like, that happened 3 days ago. But people work, I don't. So there's that. And I'm really upset that King Charles sent an invite to him. I'm shocked. Like, what the hell? And everybody over there is pissed because they can't stand Trump. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be funny? Not funny, but wouldn't it be good if he rescinded the invite right now? Wouldn't that make a big statement right now if he did that?
That would make a huge statement. Unfortunately, he would never do that. But it sure would make a big statement.
Because the rest of the world, I mean, you got the stupid MAGA over here saying all this stupid crap. I don't even think they know how to think.
Well, you know what? It's so funny. Zelenskyy was so smart. When Zelenskyy says the reason they can take and he didn't say because his language doesn't allow him to say to speak like we can. But in effect, he looked at Vance and say, you can talk all this shit right now because you have an ocean between you, but it's coming to you. And that was a factual statement.
He was trying to say you'll feel it too. It will affect the world what's going on there. And the rest of the MAGA people say, oh, he said he's bringing the war to our ocean, over the ocean to us. I'm like, that's not what he said, you friggin' God, monkeys think easier than you do. That's not what he said. Like, how stupid are you? I'm so sick of stupidity, these idiots. But that's the way they are. They're stuck in idiot world. But anyway, so I just wanted to say that once that happened, in the middle of it all, I think I got 8 messages from my cousins and aunts and people over in Northern Ireland, and 2 in England and 1 in Spain. They are outraged. They're like, "What the hell was that?"
I am scared to go read it. I am scared to go read the papers in Panama because, I mean, the rest of the world. You see, look, we are so insular, Bridge. We are so insular. We think the world revolves around everything that we do, while there's 96% of the rest of the world out there. We are only 4% of the world. There are 96% of the world out there. And being so insular is why we get ourselves into trouble. And it is shameful. But anyhow, thank you very much for being here. Let me go do my little pitch here for some fundraising. Okay. Thank you, sis.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
I appreciate you. Okay, and by the way, folks, we're not having Ask Egberto anything this week because I have another engagement for the
but I don't go anymore because I don't go to MAGA people things, so I don't go.
All right, I hear you, sis. You have a good one. I got you. I respect you, sis. All right, take care.
All righty.
All right, folks, listen, please, look, when you see that, let me make this pitch this way because we really need your support. When you see that the owner of the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos, tells his editorial department and his opinion department that you will no longer write about anything other than free markets and freedom, that tells you that paper in the next few months is gone. Because just like that paper, Jeff Bezos stopped that paper from endorsing Kamala Harris. The same occurs with the LA Times. They stopped the endorsement with the LA Times because they wanted to toe the Trump line. ABC paid off a suit they should not have paid off because one of their reporters, specifically George Stephanopoulos, went and said that Donald Trump was a rapist, which a judge called him a rapist, pointed that out. CBS is contemplating whether to pay off Donald Trump because of missing stuff from the interview that they did. It is shameful. The media is being bought off or acquiescing to Trump. And those who don't are kicked out of the White House vis-a-vis the Associated Press, which refused to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. So we need all these independent rags to be funded. So I'm going to ask you straight up, please support our program. And there are 3 ways that I'm going to ask you today to do it. One, the first one, consider being a patron at politicsandright.com/Patreon. When you go to that link, you'll see all the different options to support us. politicsandright.com/Patreon. Alternatively, you can support us through PayPal, right? You can simply support us through PayPal. That is politicsandright.com/PayPal. Of course, if you're on YouTube, you can click that join button and become a part. If you're on Substack, go ahead and become a paid subscriber of our newsletter, which puts all this stuff out several times a day. We do all this work. We make sure and get the work done. You can also do that by subscribing to the newsletter by going to politicsandright.com/newsletter. politicsandright.com/newsletter gets you to subscribe to our Substack newsletter. We cannot do this alone. We cannot do this without your support. We actually need your support to get this done. So once again, before I close, I want to ask you to please go to politicsandright.com/newsletter and become a paid supporter of our program. This is not only for the online program and the on-air program. We are on twice a day, 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. We're also writing blogs, writing TikToks, sheets, TikToks, reels, shorts. We keep the progressive space populated. So please support us as best you can. One more time, I'm going to put that link in, politicsandright.com/newsletter. Folks, I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics and Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what?
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.